They're not going to see me. Because this is like a meeting. Like you're going to take off Facebook if you're not interference. Ridiculous.
All right, Dima, good morning.
Good morning, Rob. How are you?
Here we go. Things are good. Things are great. I see you have that beautiful background behind you again.
Yes, it's not cloudy today, so it's wonderful. Yeah.
Well, yeah, weather was a little interesting over here. I don't know if you heard, we had some tornadoes over the weekend. Yesterday was really bad. So our friends up in Monroe in North Louisiana, they got hit pretty hard. But
everyone is doing okay. It looked very scary on the news.
Yeah, it was crazy. So just thoughts and prayers to everyone over there. So let's bring in our guest for today.
Yes.
We've got Renee, right?
Yes.
So let's bring her on in. There we go.
Good morning.
Hi, Renee.
Hi.
We got the Arts Council.
So happy to be here, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're glad you made the time to join us. I know you're working on a lot of amazing initiatives. So for anyone who doesn't know you, just tell us about who you are and also tell us about the amazing work you're doing with the Arts Council.
Thank you. So my name is Renee Chatelain, of course, and I'm the president and CEO of the Arts Council of Greater Baton Rouge. And so, what is the Arts Council? The Arts Council is a nonprofit organization, and we help to promote, to advocate, and provide resources for artists, and also to our community, as well as provide arts education. And we do that in our city. We're the official arts agency for the city. But we also do it for 11 parishes under the Louisiana Division of the Arts. And so not just East Baton Rouge Parish, but 10 others. If you think about the state's shape, the toe of that boot, all of the parishes that go across the top and east of us is who we serve, along with Ascension Parish and Iberville Parish. Wow. So anyway, we look to ways that we can support our community and provide inspiration and really some vital resources. And with COVID-19, we saw a need for, and we're partnering with the Baton Rouge Area Chamber and Adam Knapp to provide supplemental PPE in the form of nurses' surgical gowns. We enlisted our local artists, our local quilters, people who are hobbyists and they're sewists, to come together, and with all brands fabrics. We were Joann's Fabrics. We were able to get the right materials and begin to give Baton Rouge General and also Women's Hospital homemade gowns that supplemented their needs for PPE. And so it's been a really great project. It's called Sewing Safe. And if anybody who's on this broadcast is a sewist as well and wants to participate, please do not hesitate to contact us at info@artsvr.org. We also have a couple of more campaigns. One is letter writing and artwork for patients at local hospitals. And so if you want to just jot down a little note to somebody who is ill or to a healthcare worker, we're happy to deliver those for you. And so you can get in touch with us the same way. And I would say the thing that everybody can do is super easy is hearts from home. Let me hold up a little blue heart. This is actually a big blue heart. And then here's another size that I made myself. Oh, love it. Rob has the templates. Look at that, rock and roll.
Wow, wow, Rob. Look at that.
He's got it going on. I'm just simple.
Wow.
But no, what Rob has is great.
Did you
say what?
Yeah, go ahead. No,
I'm going to show them where to find that later too.
Perfect. Because what we wanted to do is make sure you stayed at home and stayed safe, but you still could celebrate and honor all of our healthcare providers. And you know what's so cool about this? I put it on my mailbox because I thought our house is a little bit far from the road and I wanted people to see mine. And the mail carrier received it for her and said, thanks so much, and wrote me a really nice note of, we're going to get through this together. And it was so great. And it made me think, there's so many essential workers out there who deserve a Blue Heart. So I put some on my garbage cans this morning for my sanitation workers.
Very
so
good.
Think about all those people that help us out. And we could put Blue Hearts and put a little note. I have one that has UPS on it, my UPS delivery guy. So think about those people who make our lives a bit more comfortable while we stay at home, and you can do that. So those are kind of our major initiatives right now.
I love that. I was playing with it earlier, and you have to forgive me because it's a new tool. We're streaming with something different this week. So let's bring up, this is the website for Arts Council of Baton Rouge, of Greater Baton Rouge. So it's artsbr.org, right? That's where you go. And we have the nice banner up here, the COVID banner, but really the meat of it always has been, right? What's the content that you're providing on each one of these pages. So this website is very detailed. It's got some amazing resources. And so this is the campaign, right? This is the Hearts Filled with Inspiration, but Hearts from Home. That's the campaign that you were just talking about with the Blue Hearts.
That's right. So hashtag Hearts from Home BR. And thanks for showing the website. It's so important because if you're out there and you're an artist and or you're an arts organization, we have a creative relief page. It has lots of information on ways that you can get grants. There's so many national grants that are providing resources for individual artists, some for arts organizations as well. And, apply for those grants. People have that funding and it can really help, and it can be pretty quick. And so just a new one came across this morning for jazz musicians. But they're from songwriters, from poets to visual artists to performers. The Artist Fund, which is a national fund. You might have seen some of these Broadway performers. Rosie O'Donnell, I know that there have been lots of people online like doing these shows. They have raised a significant amount of money, and that covers people like sound engineers, lighting engineers, front of house people that are out of work. So it's not just the people on the stage, but it can also provide grants and funding for people who are behind the scenes, who are so important to our industries. So anyway, be sure and look. I'm so glad, Rob, that you brought it up. Rob is a mighty board member of the Arts Council of Greater Baton Rouge. We couldn't be more proud. Dima is just our great community partner on so many levels, right, Dima? We have coffee, we figure out ideas, and then we do stuff together.
Thank you.
Everyone needs a friend like Dima to bring that stuff, to execution.
Oh, thank you. I got my Blue Heart from you right now. Thank you. So, and I was just thinking about it. We are going to have people watching this right now that are outside of Baton Rouge. They may be in a whole different country.
Correct.
So copy the idea and just do the Blue Heart and share it with the people that you appreciate as well.
Dima, that is so true. Like, none of this stuff that we have is proprietary. We want the word to spread. Just do a hashtag Hearts from Home BR so that we can share and celebrate your communities as well. But any of these ideas, we have shared our patterns for our nurses' gowns with people across the state of Louisiana, but also with people in Minnesota and in Seattle and other places around the country. So all of this is just meant to help whoever and wherever we can, because we're all in this crisis together and we're all going to be part of the solution.
Yes. So I want to go back to the tailoring of the gowns for the doctors and the nurses. So I want to confirm for anybody who is good in tailoring, where it's not a new thing for them, let us know if you're interested in helping. And it's not just helping for free. This is something that is being paid, like you're paying for it as well. But we need to make sure that you are good at it. Because I know, Renee, you had some issues in the past where people would be like, I know how to do it, and then it wouldn't be high quality.
I'm sorry. I know that's not funny. It's really not funny. People are really trying to help, but I thought about getting a sewing machine myself, and it's not funny. My mom crochets. I have a studio audience here, everybody. This is just in case you're wondering. So the live.
think we should do that. I think
But
we
so
should
I was thinking about getting a sewing machine, right? But I was like, okay, but mom is kind of, she got the iPhone. That was pretty good. That's good technologically for her. But I'm thinking, is there any way we could FaceTime and she could instruct me on how to, sew, through Zoom or one of these meetings? And I'm thinking it would not be high quality. You really don't want me making a mask for you, but you might want me bringing up the cause or to bring awareness about it. And that's how I'm going to help. My number 3 and 4 crochet needles have been retired for a long time. I would need some instructions, some cross stitching, but you make a good point. We want it to be high quality, but honestly, the love is there no matter what, right? And it is about doing what you can to help. But in my way, it's going to be different than tailoring, like you mentioned.
Or maybe you should just try, so we would see what comes up from your artistic.
Tune in next week.
Well, speaking of that, we do have. So maybe I am just like you, Rob. Like my heart is there to help, but man, I can't really operate a sewing machine, not to the level that we would need, because these things have to be done pretty speedily and they have to meet certain requirements of the hospital. So it is really important that you have some skill in that area and some experience. However, we have something called Tutorial Tuesdays, and they're just little videos that we have online. Like, so if you want to make masks for your family, but you're not a sewist, there's a video out there, and we post it on social media, and you can find it if you go to the Arts Council GBR on Facebook, and it's how to make a mask without using a needle and thread. So that was one of them. We definitely have ways that you can be active and do different things. There's also creativerelief.org is our funding mechanism. So we can hire artists and pay artists who are experienced and know how to accomplish these particular tasks. We can help pay for them because they're out of work right now. So if you want to give a financial contribution, you certainly can do that at creativerelief.org. And you can just find that information on our website. That's the best way. Creative Relief was adopted by our state. So let's say like we had some weather events in Monroe, Louisiana. You can go to Creative Relief Louisiana and click on the parish, and it will take you to that part of the state that can provide you with resources. And so in your area, so it's not just Baton Rouge, but throughout our state. If you're listening in Louisiana, or you have relatives who have been affected by the recent weather or by COVID-19 or something else, you can still go to creativelouisiana.org and look statewide. And so, so there's a really great, and we're always looking for great ideas. So many community organizations here are doing really cool things. The Baton Rouge Gallery is doing a flat curve gallery. So, Rob, you could get out your magic markers, whatever, pencils.
Have you seen what Jason's doing? It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty great. LASM has virtual tours, so you can visit the museum. LSU Museum of Art has lookalike, like you can get a famous piece of art and then pose yourself and take a picture, which I think is fabulous. There are lots of organizations. I know that the Baton Rouge Symphony is doing some at-home concerts. And I mean, one of my favorites is, it is a piece for cello and potted plants. It's really creative. So you can get a little bit of a concert from them. And I know that Kids Orchestra is doing educational videos for students. And we have an education page. There's lots of ways that if you're a parent homeschooling, you certainly can get some ideas and get some material and information through our website and through some of those other arts organizations.
You're making me think, Renee, of how many amazing people we can invite to this show. So we are ready for the whole list of people you mentioned, because it's wonderful what they're doing, and we need to ensure that we're increasing awareness for their amazing work.
Well,
sorry, Rob.
Go ahead. Renee, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to mention one more because I think it's pretty cool and brilliant. And, the more this goes on, we'll have more cool and brilliant things. But Humanities Amped, which is a relatively new organization, although you would know the players because they have been at Forward Arts and they're poets and creative writers. They're doing something called the COVID Chronicles, and they're asking people to just submit how they're feeling. So any sort of emotion you have, whether it's in a poetry form or creative writing form or just words, you can submit to them, and they're going to literally chronicle, I guess, our emotional journey through this process, which I think is pretty brilliant. And then to bring it up to just fun-filled entertainment, Playmakers of Baton Rouge is doing some cool stuff, and they have a show that they put on Wednesdays and Sundays on kind of like Seth Rudetsky's show. And it's if you're a theater Broadway kind of person, you would love that show with Todd Henry.
Wow.
That's great. Well, and so Renee, it's there's so much going on. I mean, you would think that the arts would have slowed down with all this, but it seems like there might have been a creative injection. And I love the COVID Chronicles. That sounds so interesting with emotions and art. I mean, I know a lot of that is driven within that process, but when you think about that, how interesting that really could shape up to be. And they might not have had that ability to chronicle or document those things in previous crises or, or scenarios of that. So maybe in the more modern times, but in the past, I mean, think about what we could reflect on and see how impactful this has been to our state of being. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we often
studio audience.
Is that the next guest?
Oh, this is great. Can we have another live guest really quick?
Okay.
Sure.
Why not, right?
Which is your home.
Look, if you got to feed the creative, come here. I'm going to step out because I need to be 6 feet away, but I want to introduce everybody to Jeremy Coco, Chef Jeremy Coco. He did a family meal for us today. There he is back there. Look, oh my God, how heavy is this?
So good.
Oh, wow.
This is insane, Jeremy.
Y'all enjoy, man.
That's it.
I got another run. I'm on my way to drop off a handful more.
Don't worry, it's all
Doing the Lord's work, sir. This is incredible.
Thank you.
Y'all are welcome.
Wow.
Perfect
That just
timing.
happened.
Perfect.
Live studio audience. Feed your creative spirit with Jeremy Coco, chefjeremycoco.com. How about that?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to mute myself so we can recover, and then you guys talk about art again.
Yeah, let's talk.
Great. But I know when we're talking about it, we're going to get hungry. So,
Good. So it's amazing for me to just observe what's going on right now, how we are going back to basics, which is the basic of connecting with the community, the basic of art. Imagine how much the music is healing. The artistic talent is healing for us right now. So when I think about our lives before the COVID-19, how we were just so busy running. And now when things really got tough, we really needed, in order to survive, to connect with these things that matter the most. So I want to see what you think, Renee.
Yeah, for me, arts are part of my everyday existence, However, I think what this crisis has done is show everyone that art is part of everyone's everyday existence. Mm-hmm. And it is what makes us human, and it is what allows us to share our emotional selves and our true being with others. Statistics, when we were just talking about the COVID Chronicles, we hear statistics every day, and we hear numbers. Sometimes those are, they're sad and they're intense, and people measure things by numbers. And of course we have to, but isn't it also great that we can measure things through an artistic lens, and we can allow and give voice to lots of people from lots of different parts of the world. And I think what this experience has done is connect people virtually in ways that they maybe didn't realize before. It has forced the conversation. And I think that's pretty brilliant, because we're able to have art that's accessible. You would think not, because we're all in our homes, but honestly, with technology And that brings up, of course, an equity discussion, because one of our biggest concerns here has been the whole idea of not everyone gets to have a Zoom call or has the mechanics or has the access to that part of our world that is so important to our well-being. And so we're looking out, even as this experience happens, we're looking out to those people in our own community who, especially children, school-age children, where, one of the issues that's come up on staff is that there are many, many people who are in or school-aged, and they are required to submit their work electronically, but they have no electronics to submit their work. And so talking to educators and trying to work with people so that we can have things submitted on paper, or we can provide other tools so that everyone experiences the things that we love and that are necessary on the same level. And so we're working on that process as well, maybe providing backpacks with paper products and allowing teachers and instructors to accept paper as a means of gauging learning, rather than just requiring everybody to be on an electronic device. So anyway, it's an interesting conversation, but it also, because we're at home, it gives us time to think of ways that we can solve that problem creatively.
Good point. Good
Wow.
point.
Wow.
Dima, what have you found yourself being more creative in this event?
Yeah, and I think part of it is I'm spending more time with my nephew, which is so amazing. So we get to color, we colored the sidewalk, we get to do a lot of things that I wasn't doing obviously before. So absolutely. And another thing that I started doing that I've been wanting to do all my life is journal, but I'm always putting it aside. But I was telling myself the other day, there's so much emotions and thoughts that I need to capture. So, and I'm enjoying it. I give myself 5 minutes and then I just don't want to stop. So,
Did you hear that, Renee? She's doing her own COVID Chronicles. Did you hear that?
I know, I love it so
It's
much.
already reached San Diego.
Yeah.
and then back to Baton Rouge.
Yep.
Imagine
I love it.
all the feelings that we are experiencing right now, whether feelings of gratitude or whether feelings related to fear and insecurity and all of this. Imagine how important it is for us to document them and to look back, because it's giving us more insight of who we are and the kind of life we want.
Absolutely. And, we have a radio show, AC23, that we've made into a podcast, and so that it can live virtually. So you can revisit some of those conversations that you had initially. And Zero Skidmore is our host, and he does a really excellent job of interviewing what's happening now. But I like to kind of go back, and I normally wouldn't have the time to do so, to go back and look at that, at what people were saying, let's say 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And where we were. And I think it's you're right. There's a little bit more time for reflection to go back and forward. And AC23 is a great tool. And that's actually one of the tools that we're trying to use in our arts equity discussion, because people can listen to a radio. And so anyway, it's just a thought, but it's the ways we create, right? It's really great. Speaking of COVID Chronicles, I'm gonna credit Todd Henry with this from Playmakers. But when I was chatting with him on his show, he had everyone, announce their COVID nicknames. And the way you do that is you take however you're feeling right now with the last thing you ate. And so it was pretty funny. It might be just a fun thing for you guys to try too. My name was Hope Cantaloupe. So, I share what we do to share with others.
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible.
Wow.
I love it.
So what about you, Rob? What is your name?
It's your emotion and the last thing you ate.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, I guess, that's not as funny as a silly vitamin. I don't know if that's.
That's so funny.
I don't know.
What about you, Dima?
The first word that came to my mind is hope, but I don't want to copy you. So I'm gonna say that I'm gonna. What's other feeling? I'm just gonna say grateful vitamin C.
You guys and the vitamins, like
Yeah.
I had,
Because
It's
I'm
early, you know.
early here, so I didn't have my breakfast yet, but I had my vitamins. So yeah, grateful vitamin C.
I love it. I love it.
so
Well,
great.
I mean, last time we were talking about tips, Dima, that was a few weeks ago. Do you have any more tips for this week? And maybe that we could, let Renee kind of chime in, because she's got plenty of advice and information and some great wisdom there. So what would be your tip for this week, Dima, for everyone that's watching?
Wow.
I know I'm putting you on the spot.
No, I think it's so wonderful. So now we're hearing more and more of people losing jobs and how it is affecting the economy. So my tip is to start reflecting on what skills you need to develop in order to be competitive in the new economy that we're moving towards. So ensure you're updating your LinkedIn profile. Think of yourself not just as your physical, but or your digital presence, and what are you doing to elevate your online brand, and also spend time to reflect of what kind of a job you want to do, whether it's an individual that lost their jobs or somebody who still have their jobs. What this most likely was a wake-up call to everybody, so it allows us to realize what do we want to do, what do we really are passionate about, and start spending time to think about it. You don't need to take action, just think about it. I think there are multiple tips I gave. I just went in circles, but these are everything that's in my head right now.
I thought it was great. I mean, it added a lot of value. The thing that I would probably say is start planning now. I read an interesting article this morning. It was sent to me early when I woke up, and I decided that I was going to read it. It was actually quite long, but it was an article that April Wares, Livingston Parish Chamber of Commerce, had shared with me and the group that I was in. And it ultimately was about pretty much the wake-up call that all industry has, and our societal norms and just the way we treat just business in general, or go about our daily life, and how different that's going to be after this. So the takeaway I got from that was start planning now. It was take this time to maybe journal or envision what you would want it to be after this, and start working towards that slowly. So there was just a lot of legal concerns. How do you keep your staff healthy? How do you keep them safe, and your clients? There was almost every aspect of business I think has been touched during this, and it's something that I think we all need to revisit to make sure that we can do it with no touch or with a personal touch, even though that things are 6 feet away or more. So start planning now is my advice and my tip for this week, for how you want this to look, since it's going to look very different after this. Start planning now. Renee, what would be your nugget? What's going to be your nugget of wisdom? Maybe it's art related. Maybe it's just something else. What do you have to share today?
Well, first of all, I wrote down what you guys said because I thought it was great. Just so you guys know, we're the Arts Council of Greater Baton Rouge is part of a national cohort. They're Seattle, Minneapolis, Vermont, and Baton Rouge. And we're in emergency planning and response. And so what you guys are saying is so important. And so during this crisis, one of the things that we did, we already had an emergency plan. So it was very easy for us to go from working in an office to working remotely and to transition. And that's because we had a plan in place. And so don't be overwhelmed about making a big plan. What we started to do with this crisis, because it was so unique and different, was we assigned someone on our staff to be the journalist and to just journal each day. It could just be bullet points of our course of action. We will then revisit that when we, at some point in the future, and incorporate some of the important procedures that we sort of did off the cuff into our planning, because in case there's something that should happen like this again, we would have more vocabulary to begin with. And I think, so what you're saying about planning can involve just even, I don't want you to think overwhelming, but it could be just the day-to-day that you jot down and then use that in your planning process forward. And then I'm going to make sure cue Dima that I go look at my LinkedIn and all those ways that people find me personally and make sure I update it, because I think mine's really probably out of date. But it's great advice. It's the time now that we can do it. And artists out there, you are a business. You provide product to the community, whether it is in performance or it's some product in a form of a visual art. And so make sure that you take advantage of all the business resources through Secretary of State, your chambers of commerce, all those ways that you can prepare yourself for when we get back to our regular course of business. And also apply for all the resources that are available to you. Check them out on our website. They're there for you.
You made a good point, Renee. I mean, apply. That's whether or not you're looking for EIDL, SBA, PPP, all these new PPP. I always liked PE, but now it's like, I don't know. I now don't even know what I'm talking about. There's so much there, there's so much, but I think that because there's so much, apply. Obviously, make sure you're comply when you apply, but apply. It's there. And there's so many resources that are there that people just don't know about. That's what this show is about. You told us not just about the Arts Council today. You told us about 8 other initiatives. There's someone on the show, Hollis Hannon. She was a guest a week or so ago. And she took her creativity and her business and pivoted into that desk, something where she's, doing something creative with her talents and her inventory and providing desks for those kids that are working at home. So, I mean, if anything, there's so much around us that we can tap into, but apply. It doesn't hurt to ask. And really, there's so much out there. Go to the websites and the resources that are great for your community, like the Chamber of Commerce, like the Arts Council of Greater Baton Rouge, like BRAC and LED, and all of the in the state resources. Make sure that you're aware and informed. But there's a lot. We understand that. So when you're asking for the same, get over all that, go look at some art. Go buy a piece of art. Go create something.
Yes. There are several artists that are doing things that also help the community. And one is Mimosa Handcraft. She does lots of jewelry. And so if you buy some of her jewelry, a portion of those proceeds goes to the local food bank. And she keeps a blog of how much impact those purchases have had. And it's been pretty amazing to look at those numbers. So here's somebody who's creating art, putting it into commerce. People are buying local. And then that local income goes to help people that are in need at the food bank. And so it's a great thing. And she's a great example, but not the only example of that kind of work going on in the community. So I would say buy local, seek out local merchants. Your food delivery was on point, timely. Fabulous. Culinary art, what can we say? Right? Thematic.
Yeah.
That's right.
But, look at those. In fact, I just want to mention one more because, lots of things going on. We have a new program we're starting called TGIF Fridays for companies. You can contact the Arts Council, info@artsbr.org, and put in a request for a musician. There's a fee associated. We pay the musician, and then they have a virtual tip jar on your TGIF Friday afternoon meeting. You can have a 20 to 30 minute concert on your Zoom. And, have a cocktail or a soda and enjoy some great Louisiana music. And we're supporting our musicians in the process.
Wow.
That is so cool.
That's the best idea I've heard for a while. Wow.
Oh,
wow.
Oh my goodness. Renee, while we have a second, I've got to tell you about another friend of mine, Jan Risher. I shared an article out yesterday. She writes for The Advocate and Acadian Advocate. I mean, this is just and I know we're running long here, but there's so much good and positivity in this. We have to keep it going today. The vibe is just there. But Jan uncovered an amazing story that an 8-year-old and 2 other girls with their time, they decided to start tryouts and auditions for a play that she had created herself, an 8-year-old Lola. And I'm just, and that turned into knowing Nicolene, I think was her name, who was an amazing performer, and Olivia, who, like these three girls have created something brand new, and now I want to watch. It's so
Yes.
what people are doing, and I love that you can now make a request for an artist through a virtual tip jar. Like this is what I'm talking about. This is what we're talking about, Dima.
And everybody loves the Louisiana musicians and the amazing things we have. So this doesn't have to be, again, just for Baton Rouge companies. So imagine
No.
there's a company somewhere else and they want to get a little of the music from Louisiana. They would be able to share that with their team. I love it.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we're doing one this Friday for an East Coast company. So yes, Louisiana, we are rich in our music culture, whether it's blues, jazz, singer-songwriter. So contact the Arts Council. We'll hook you up.
I
Wow.
love it. Powerful stuff here. Dima, you want to close out the show? I did enough talking.
Yeah, I think we're ending at a high. There's no way we can make it better than this.
I agree. Renee, thank you so much. This was awesome. We had a great show today.
Oh my gosh, you guys, thanks so much for having me. So grateful.
Oh, I have. That's my blue.
Have a
Talk to
great
you
one,
guys.
everybody. Put up your blue hearts.
Thanks so much, guys.